All right, everybody. Well, that's our show. Thanks so much. No kidding. Next up, it's your favorite angel. Mr. Misha Collins. He's our angel. Come and save it tonight. He's our angel. Come and make it alright. Misha. Hi, buddy.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Is that really true, or are you just saying that because you want to get off stage?
The latter.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
You know what?
Yeah.
Ruth just asked me that same question in photo op. She's like, "How are you?" And I said, "I guess I'm okay."
Yeah.
We both were like, "That's surprising.
Strange, yeah.
That's weird. What are we going to talk about now?"
I know, exactly. All right, I'll leave you to it.
Nice to see you. Bye. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Do you miss us?
I did miss you. Yes, it's nice to see you. I can't tell who's talking to me, but it doesn't matter.
It wasn't sarcastic, so it wasn't me.
What?
Right.
Turn the light on?
The volume.
You turn your mic on. Is that better? Can you hear me when I talk?
I can.
Is that
Fine.
Where are you all coming from? No, I wasn't. Same woman from last night who's like so excited to have a hometown. That is really super unique. You're from someplace, and that's awesome. Good for you. What a great thing, by the way, to be able to celebrate. I live in a city! Oh! Or a small town, or whatever. Seriously, where are all of you people coming from? There are people who just street. No! This is not working.
Animal sacrifice.
Okay. What?
Oh.
I am coming from Toronto via Baltimore. Don't freak out. Great. What can I tell you?
Nothing.
My kids, they are. So it turns out. So I read this article that said that dad jokes are a real thing.
Yes.
Did anyone else read this?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
It's a real thing, and and dads make stupid jokes that make other people in the family groan. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
But it's actually some sort of like social bonding mechanism,
Right.
and it's also a way for everybody to understand that the dad is not threatening, and that we're all okay. And I make jokes which I think are actually quite funny and sophisticated, and my kids, in response now, have what they think is also quite funny and sophisticated, a response to my dad jokes. They say, "That's a real dad slapper," and then slap me in the face. So I'm getting a very negative reinforcement about my dad jokes, and it's causing me to be more and more serious at home. Because if I make a dad joke, I get slapped in the face. It's not just a chuckle, but it's like, you know, honestly, it's a domestic violence situation with my 9-year-old. Mason is particularly keen on the dad slapper. I don't know why I just told you that. It's, I guess, a cry for help. I keep telling the kids that I'm going to call Child Protective Services and get them to protect me from my children. Which the kids they're starting to fear that will come true. I am shooting a new show which hopefully will become a series. Right now it's just a pilot, but what I have seen on set so far gives me hope that it will become a series, because I think that it's quite good so far, especially the stuff with Harvey Dent in it. That's the character that I'm playing. It's cool. It's kind of an epic show. It's just big. We have a lot of like, we'll have 100 background actors on a given day. On Supernatural, I think we peaked out at 4 background actors. But it'll be interesting. It's here we are. We're doing these ostensibly supernatural conventions, yes?
Yes.
But now all of the actors have moved on to do other things because they don't have any loyalty. And it will be curious to see how this polyamorous dynamic plays out with you all. Will you be willing to keep us on if we are also seeing other shows?
As long as the sex stays good.
Someone in the front row just said, as long as the sex stays good. Well, on that note, hi.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
How are you?
I have a question for you.
Great.
I have a Castiel tattoo because he means a lot to me. So, if Cass had to get a tattoo for another character from the show, who would the person be, and what would the tattoo be?
I think Cass would probably likely get a grumpy cat tattoo. And on his face. What's your Cass tat?
You've seen it on text.
Oh.
It's you, as Cass from The Man Who Would Be King.
Oh,
With
on the
your-
bench, yeah, that's
With your
nice.
handwriting underneath it, which I had to edit together.
Oh, that's very lovely. That's really nice. Why is Castiel important to you?
Oh, wow.
I mean, you have a tattoo.
Well, when I get tattoos, it means I had a lot of money and no one stopped me.
It's not a sign of emotional attachment to the character. It is just perspicuous consumption. It's me trying to show the world just how rich I am.
I'm not rich. But, I see myself a lot in him, and when I was watching the show, it's like he came in, and I was like, oh, it just got real. And then the show had never been the same since.
Well, that's amazing. I love your tattoo. Yeah. Cool. My mind is going places where it shouldn't, so I'm just going to let it go. Thank you very much. I would love to hear the next woman's question here. Hi.
Hi there. Hi, Misha. I'm Jody.
Hi, Jody.
So, I'm so excited about you being cast as Harvey Dent. Love the Batman series, of course, in general.
Great.
I was hoping to find out which is your favorite version of the Joker, and who's your favorite villain besides Two-Face?
Well, the Dark Knight Joker is kind of hard to... That was some excellent jokering. Tommy Lee Jones is really was one of my favorite actors. And then in boning up for the Harvey Dent role, I saw his version of Two-Face in a Batman movie, Batman Forever. And he is no longer my favorite actor. Please don't tell Tommy Lee Jones that I said this, but he was fucking terrible. That whole movie was basically a terrible fiasco.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree with me?
No.
Wow, it's so rare to have that kind of consensus. We should relish this moment. That's really special. It's actually kind of cool to think about. That movie brought everybody together. Right? we can all agree that it was horrible. And they had some really great actors in there, and they managed to get terrible performances out of almost everybody, which is impressive, I think. Are we seeing eye to eye?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Because that would be
Although-
super awkward if you were like, actually, no, that's my favorite movie.
While Tommy Lee Jones's version was not so good, Aaron Eckhart in the Dark Knight series was fabulous.
I thought he did a great job as well. Yeah. Great. I'll be honest with you. I plan to have the definitive Harvey Dent.
Yes,
But,
of course.
you know.
Of course.
I mean, the cool thing about this particular version of it is that we're going to have a lot of time with that character, hopefully, which we'll have an opportunity. You know, these movies play out the entire arc of the character in a couple of hours, but I'll try to drag that on interminably. Great. Oh, I'm supposed to switch sides.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was a dick move, huh? Sorry. I would have kept going too. I just happened to see you.
You're fine.
Hi. It's just because you're wearing a light-colored mask. Otherwise, I would have missed you.
Blend it right in? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Regina. First of all, your poetry book is fucking amazing. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
It's amazing, and I really enjoyed it. My question is
We'll beep that out before this gets broadcast.
I don't know, Margaret made me cry every time I read it, so.
Okay.
My question to you is, everybody asks you kind of the same kind of questions. Is there anything that you wish people would ask you about? Any topic or production or anything that you wanted to talk about but nobody's ever asked you about before?
Well, I can tell you one question that I have gotten a number of times. It's that question. And it's one of my least favorite. So that's kind of amazing. Yeah. I think that it's a cop-out for the question asker. Because it's basically like saying, I don't have a question for you, but will you ask yourself a question? Will you conduct an interview for us with yourself? That's what the question sort of amounts to. Is this starting to feel hostile? What's happening right now? We're good? What is a question that you've always wished that you had asked yourself?
Question I would ask myself.
Yeah, see what happens to your own brain when you're confronted with that question? I know. Do you think that we're not touching the microphone? Is that what's happening? Okay. It seems quite inefficient. Well, how about this? Okay, give me a follow-up question then.
The question I was originally going to ask is, what is your favorite poem?
My favorite poem? Oh, well, there's a poem.
Boring.
What?
It's a boring question.
It's not a boring question. It's a great question. But I prefer the first question though. There's a poem that I quite love called Wild Geese. It's quite excellent. It's by Mary Oliver, and it features some geese. It is, I think, quite uplifting. It ends with, what will you do with this one wild and precious life? Which I think is a nice question, a nice cliffhanger to leave the reader with. There are some other poems that I quite like, though. I don't know that I necessarily have a favorite poem. How about you?
I like John Donne. It's called A Passionate Shepherd to His Love. I like that one.
Excellent. I'm going to read that on my phone when we get off the stage. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Hope.
Hi.
Me and my three friends, Kim and Jess, we all hail from your home state of Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yes. In fact, I work in Lowell. Kim is from Chelmsford, and Jess is from Westford. They would have killed me if I'd forgotten.
Chelmsford and Lowell I went to preschool.
Yes, I think you went to preschool with my friend Kim.
In Lowell.
In Lowell.
Yeah? Well, how old is Kim?
She's about your age. So we were doing the math, yeah.
Like about my age or actually my
She's
age?
not with me. She's here, but she's not standing next to me to correct me as to actually what age she is. Sorry.
So, How old are you? Okay, so we went to preschool together, huh? So Lowell, Massachusetts, when I was going to preschool, was a real shithole.
It's better now.
Is it? It had, if I'm not mistaken, the highest per capita the highest portion of the population on public assistance in the country was in Lowell. Basically everybody was on welfare, and the free public preschool that I went to. What was yours like? Was it free? Was it public?
Was it preschool?
You don't remember? How are we going to figure out if we went to preschool together? So, at the preschool that I went to, they had kids, if we didn't cooperate, God, I remember it so vividly. We had cots for nap time, I remember, and if you didn't behave, the teachers would make you lie on your cot and then sit on you. And we had lockers, and the other punishment we would get is they would shut us in our lockers. So they're putting these like 4-year-olds, shutting the door and like locking them into our own lockers if we spoke out of turn or did the wrong thing.
This explains so much.
But it was free and it was public, so it was great. You know? But that was my first experience with school. So it sort of hardwired me to really love school.
My question sounds really dull after that.
Yeah.
Well, we loved road food, and we were wondering if there was some place in Massachusetts that is still there that you would suggest or would love to have done that we could go visit.
I pitched of what I thought to the producers was a very good idea for a road food pit stop, which was when I was 11, we lived for about 5 months in a tent in the woods next to this dairy farm. And me and my younger brother, who was 9 at the time, went to the dairy farm and said, hey, can we have a job here? And they did not want 2 children actually working on their farm. But there wasn't anything that we could actually contribute, but the farmer was so awesome. And so we spent the summer at this farm learning how to milk cows and like riding on his lap while he was mowing hay and then baling hay and stacking it in the barn. And we thought we were farmers. And it was like the best version of summer camp you could possibly imagine. We were just getting our hands dirty and learning about farming. And this guy was basically babysitting these 2 homeless kids that were living in the woods next door, but made us feel like we were just helping him on the farm. And about 3 years ago, I was back home and I drove up to that farmhouse and I knocked on the door and I was like, hey. And this old man comes out, who was the farmer, who I hadn't seen in 30 years, 35 years, I don't know, whatever, 35 years. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but there were 2 kids that were living in the woods here, and you took us under your wing and let us, come work on your farm all summer. And he was like, oh yeah, I remember those boys. And I just said, well, that was me, and I just want to say thank you.
Very sweet. Very nice.
So, I would have loved to have, because it's a dairy farm, I thought it would be really cool to go there and like start an episode with that, because there's also all of these local creameries in Western Massachusetts, so like ice cream in New England is a big thing. Ben & Jerry's is from New England, and so I thought it'd be cool to like follow from like a small family dairy farm through to a creamery and do that. And maybe someday we will. Who knows?
Great.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Liz.
Hi, Liz.
I think you're great, but my daughter adores you.
So there's a hierarchy there?
Yeah.
Where's your daughter? Is your daughter a toddler?
No. 16. I was just wondering, what would you tell younger people who deal with anxiety to take care of their mental health?
Well, I am no therapist or psychiatrist or psychoanalyst or I don't know what other terms I'm looking for right now, spiritual guide. But one thing that I think is nice that's happening at the moment in the prevailing cultural winds of our time is that it's okay to talk about mental health now, and the ideas of like, I really believe that the stigma of, for example, having anxiety or dealing with anxiety is falling off. It's of course not gone, but it's much easier for people to talk about. There are a lot of, there are a lot of articles these days about how there's a huge spike in depression, anxiety, amongst young people, and that is likely true because our society is completely fucked. But I think part of what's going on there also is that people are able to identify what's going on. They're talking about it, and they're diagnosing it at a level that hasn't happened before. So there are a couple of factors going into that, and I think that it's really good that people are able to talk about it. Now, I don't know for a fact, maybe you're just embarrassing your daughter by asking this question, but I think the fact that you're like open and able to talk about it, and your daughter is possibly okay with it, is indicative of a good trend. So I don't have advice, but I am supportive of the fact that we are increasingly able to talk about these things and might encourage more conversations. Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Mine may be a little bit of a silly question, but our kitten at home is named Castiel. So...
Is it Castiel or Catstiel?
Castiel. We call him Casty Smell, actually.
Casty Smell?
So I was actually just kind of curious if there was any character from Supernatural that you would think about naming a pet.
Oh, that's a great idea. No, it hadn't occurred to me. But I do like the idea of having a pet named for a character on the show. Yeah.
Any particular one?
No, unfortunately, my brain went to making mean jokes about my castmates that I'm I have to censor out. So I'm just letting it go.
No, there's no censor in New Jersey.
I have a this angry mob all of a sudden. Never seen you so enthusiastic to hear me say something. You're going to be mean about your cast members? We want that. That's why we're here. That's why I got the fucking gold pass.
Jersey.
My kids have a leopard gecko. It's about this big. Its name is Desert. It has severe anxiety. Always hiding under a rock. So boring. It's unbearable. Finally, I realized, you know what? I'm taking his rock away so he can't hide all the time because I want to see the leopard gecko, which of course then just makes him more anxious. It's a horrible cycle. But the kids found another lizard in the yard. And they thought, well, maybe a friend would be helpful. And in the morning, there were two little arms. That was all that was left of the friend. Yeah. So, good, thanks. Hi.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm here with my mom, and it just makes me love you even more that you like poetry, because I'm a poet myself.
Oh my goodness. Are you going to read us some of your work?
If you'd like me to.
Sure. Yes. Do you have it on you?
I have it on my phone.
Great. This is fabulous. Wow, you really responded to that well. I would have freaked out and ran away.
My English teacher used to make me these main character every time we had to read a play of some sort.
Okay, you're a good reader. All right, let's hear it. What's this called?
They normally don't have names, they're kind of just
Okay.
put together.
Great.
To be loved by someone who knows what they want is a truly beautiful thing. They'll love you with everything in them, with no regrets, with a passion greater than you've ever known. You become their whole world. Everything you do is a wonder in their eyes. They'll watch everything you do and admire it all. From the way you walk, to the way you laugh, to the way you brush your teeth. They'll lay down everything for you, do whatever you ask. All they want is to see you smile and be happy with life. All they want is to see you living your life to the absolute fullest.
Well, that's lovely.
My question for you is, what is your favorite poetry collection?
I don't know that I have a favorite poetry collection. You mean like the American Anthology of Poetry or something like that? What are you referencing?
Like, it can be a single book, because I know my favorite is called To the Last Time I Write About You.
What is, I'm not familiar with it. What is that?
It's basically a collection about a girl getting over a breakup with somebody who meant a lot to her, and I found it after I had left my ex-fiance and a very bad relationship, and it stuck with me. I have a small copy that I keep in the center console of my car.
Oh, that's lovely. I don't know that I have a favorite. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I will look up. What is this one again?
To the Last Time I Write About You.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up. Thank you.
Hello, Misha.
Hi.
Like my friend Julie, I also have a tattoo for Castiel. Mine's from Tombstone. I've actually shown it to you before in Dallas.
Oh yeah, 2 cowboy hats.
Yeah, the blue and green,
Yep.
and we had to explain what
Yep.
blue and green meant. Yeah.
Yep. I learned what blue and green represent. What is that? That was like a month ago?
It
2
was
months ago.
End of January.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Three. Okay.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
So my question is, if you could choose any other moment in the show for Cass to confess his love to Dean, when would it be and why?
I don't know. Wasn't that the best possible moment for it to happen? No? Whoa, this is a tinderbox. The angry mob is back.
As long as the sex is good.
No, never.
I don't. What are you thinking of? This is not a question I've pondered before.
I think maybe after the brainwashing was broken from Naomi would have been a good one. After Dean said, "I need you."
That would have given a nice long runway for them to play things out. It's kind of convenient that he's like, "I love you. Oh, bye." Yeah. Okay. Well, when we do the reboot, we can work on that. Thanks. Hi.
Hi there, I'm Felicia.
Hi, Felicia.
Now that these cons are a perfect time to talk about what what your favorite part of the show was. But is there anything that you're just not going to miss, or you're happy that you don't have to do anymore?
Well, I think I can safely say that I'm not going to miss the Castiel voice. I don't miss Jared's flatulence in the car. Yeah, you get it. I don't know though. For the most part, I do miss it. I mean, we had so much fun. I can sort of poke fun at the show and the things that were hard. The hours were long. I was driving. I was commuting home across the border, and often it's like driving home at 4 o'clock in the morning and barely able to stay awake. I don't miss that currently. And I don't know. But for the most part, it was a very good place to show up and go to work. We, cast and crew, just all got along really well, and we laughed a lot, which is a really nice thing to come to work to do. And I miss that sense of familiarity and family that we had on set. I'm starting a new show, and everybody that I've come across so far is lovely, and it's clearly full of good people and good personalities, but it's also like you can't substitute that history. When you've known people for more than a decade, there's something about that familiarity that is impossible to replicate. So I'm gonna miss that, and I do miss that. Yeah. Okay. Great. That's enough of that sentimentality. Hi.
Hi. So, my question is about if there was a world where everybody was human, what are the types of adorable things you think Cass might get up to with his life? Like, would he adopt a cat? Would he become a baker or own a coffee shop?
Where everyone was human?
Yeah.
Like all of we don't have to do our demon fighting, monster hunting anymore. We don't have to close the veil into another dimension or whatever because everything is all taken care of. And now what do?
I don't know, maybe, whatever things you think Cass would like to do with his spare time.
Yeah. I think Cass would probably get into like MMA fighting. Because in that environment, I think that he would just sort of savor and relish the sensation of having, another person's blood covering his knuckles. Is that something like what you're thinking of?
I just think it's ironic because I'm covered in blood currently and talking through like sticky blood on my face, so.
What happened to you?
It's called cosplay.
Oh, good. Well, that's comforting. Or it's a good cover. Yeah. I wonder how often people do that. Like they go out and they axe murder somebody, and then they come to a convention and they're like, no, it's just like you don't know for sure unless you taste it and you're like, that doesn't taste like corn syrup. What's going on? That tastes like O positive. What's happening?
It tastes like mint.
Sure. Well, that's freaked me out. Hi.
Hello, my name's Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
You had a number of talented actors join you as your fellow angels. Wondering if you would share with us one of your favorite memories of interactions with those actors and one of your favorite other angels to interact with.
Well, I will share with you just one tidbit that I've told this story a million times, so any of you people who've been here before have heard this, and I'm sorry, you can check your email or something. When I came on the show, angels, I was the first angel, as you know. Yeah. And I was given some instruction, like angels haven't been around humans for thousands of years. They seem like humans seem like alien beings to angels. And so Castiel had this very fish out of water quality. He didn't quite relate to humans well. He seemed a little off. And I naively thought that I was establishing the template for all subsequent angels on the show. Like, this is how angels are, because they haven't been around humans. And then Kurt Fuller came on, and he was just like a regular guy, regular, normal, human type person with a personality and everything. And I was like, wait a minute, now you just make me look like the fucked up angel. That's not fair. So, in the end, I was the weird angel. It wasn't that angels were weird, and that's that's, I guess, in a sort of blanket painting with broad brushstrokes here. That's my way of saying I resent all of the other actors who played angels. I was just arriving up in Toronto last week. I had gone home for a couple of days and I was coming back, and I saw a sign at the end of the jet bridge for our Wisdom. And then I saw a man that looked an awful lot like Robert Wisdom walking right in front of me, and I was like, Bob? And it was Robert Wisdom, and he was Uriel. And then I texted him and I said, hey, do you want to maybe go grab dinner or something while we're in town? And he was like, no, I'm busy. And then I was down in a restaurant by myself, and Robert Wisdom walked in. Kind of awkward.
There we go.
So we had dinner together. And it was so lovely to catch up with him. He is such a lovely human being, and it was actually really, like, we had been kind of close in our short time together back in season 4, but it was really lovely to just recently catch up with him. And he just looks like he's so healthy and vibrant. He looks younger than he did when we worked together. It's really nice to see. Anyway, so there's my positive story about one of the angels. Yeah.
Hi, Misha. So
Hi.
my friends and I have started a religion as a joke, but it's kind of serious around Castiel, because we just adore you so much and adore Cass, and we're wondering if you could give us one commandment for Castielism. What would it be? And I know there's quite a few Castielism people here, so we need a commandment.
So you've started a religion.
So our friend Christina started it. She's not here today, but yes, we started.
So she's like the high priestess of
She is, yes.
Okay.
I'm just a lowly heller.
Wow, it sounds like there are quite a few of you. Can I ask you just a basic question? How do you discern between a religion and a cult?
It's kind of, religion, we have a Bible.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's a cult.
Okay. And have you done any of the, like, sort of classic cult stuff, like you're gonna ask everybody to renounce their relationships with their close friends and family and that sort of thing? I'm just saying it's an option. You could do that. You could do that. It might be a fun thing to do, make it feel a little bit more cultish. Maybe everybody could give up all of their possessions.
No.
You know? And then, I'm not saying like that it has to go to me, but that could be cool. Like, that could be a cool, like, little tie-in, like, because I was the actor that played Castiel, and it's like a Castiel cult, and everybody renounces all of their worldly possessions and like literally transfers all the funds in their bank accounts to my bank account. And it would feel more authentic, I think, for everybody, right? So that, I guess that's it. Let's do that. Cool. This is great. Love this. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jenny. You played Castiel for so long. I'm curious to know if you ever dreamt in character as Castiel, and if you did, is that a good dream or a nightmare?
You know what's interesting? No, I didn't. Not that I remember. I don't remember ever dreaming as Castiel. So interesting. I do have like recurring dreams, and I feel like my dreams are very often influenced by what I've experienced during the day. So I would have expected to have had dreams, Castiel dreams or supernatural dreams. I guess I did have dreams that were like bloody, gratuitously violent dreams that probably were influenced by supernatural, but I really, for some reason, I never dreamt in that universe. I played a role way back, like 20 years ago, where I was playing a real-life serial killer who is actually based in, he was based in Toronto. So I'm meeting people in Toronto and they're like, oh, you're the fucker that played that thing. But I dreamt that character's, like, I dreamt as if I were that character, which was really creepy. And it actually freaked me out. I was like, uh-oh, I might have broken myself. This is not good. But I don't know why I never dreamt as, I don't think I ever did dream as Cass. Thanks.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
So I don't know how much time you get to watch TV, but I was wondering if you had seen the new HBO show, Our Flag Means Death? And if you have, who your favorite character is?
Yes, my favorite character is Jeff. Our what? What is the show? What's...
Our Flag Means Death. It's a gay pirate show.
Death. Our Flag Means Death?
Yes.
Well, this is the first I've heard of it, so I don't necessarily have a favorite character yet. Because of that.
Maybe the flag.
Do you know what I mean? It would be weird if I was like, but I, you know, because I don't know who any of the characters are, and I didn't know the show existed until just now. I should watch it? Is it good?
Okay.
I don't watch a ton of television, but I have been watching a few shows recently. I've been watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel for some reason. And I just started, I know I'm way behind on this, but I just started Succession. And I watched some of Gotham in sort of boning up for my show, just to see what else was out there. And then for some reason, my son watches television, like he is a binge watcher. And I don't even know how he's finding the time, because I thought I was restricting his screen time. But it'll be like, I just finished all of the seasons of The Flash. And I was like, wait, where, how? How did you do that? But he likes things like Arrested Development, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, and 30 Rock, and very adult shows that an 11-year-old should not be watching. I was like, giving up. I had a birds and bees conversation. I was like, it's time we talk about sex, kids. And West was like, no, Dad, we are not having this conversation. And we were on a hike in the woods, and I was like, okay, so the way it works is when a man and a woman, and he was like, oh, I'm not listening, putting his fingers in his ears, but every time he'd take his fingers out of his ears, I'd be like, and then there's an erection. And, but anyway, like most of the way through that, like chopped up sex ed class that I was sort of almost forcefully administering to the kids. They were like, no, we don't want to hear it. I was like, you have to hear it eventually. They both were like, look, we know all about sex. We watched Friends. So, it's like, really? What happens in Friends that, okay. I don't know why I'm telling you these things. Yeah, I know where I was going. Supernatural is a show that I realize I haven't seen all of. Have I ever admitted that publicly?
No. Oh, yes, probably.
I have, okay. It occurs to me, like, I watched, like a lot of the first season, and then I was like catching up before I got on the show, and then after that it was like, well, I'll watch the episodes that are coming out now because I'm in them, and who doesn't want to watch themselves? And then eventually, like, it was like, wait, I don't think I ever filled in the gap. I don't think I ever watched all of the episodes. So, yeah. Well, my kids are finally broached the subject. They're like, we think it's time, Dad. Time for what? We think it's time to watch Supernatural. And I feel like I have caused them enough emotional harm that it won't further scar them, probably. And they're old enough and resilient enough to know that a lot of those beheadings were not real. I'm not going to tell you which ones where we actually beheaded local higher caste, but there were a few. But I realized just how daunting it is, because we did the math. You know, it's one thing to watch, Curb Your Enthusiasm or something, because they're like 22 episodes. 22 minutes long or 23 minutes long, and there's only a handful of 10 seasons, something like that. Supernatural. If you watch, I don't know if you realize this, but if you watch all 390 episodes or whatever we did,
327.
whatever. It will take up your entire, it will take a year. Like if you watch an episode, okay, so, but you watched it in a month.
Baltimore.
You watched it in a month? What the fuck is wrong with you? How does that happen? How could you possibly?
While I drive, while I'm at work.
You watch while you're driving? She just said, I watch while I drive, while I'm at work. Who's your employer? Does your employer know this? This is unacceptable.
No, it's like when I'm doing like things that if it's not busy, like they allow us to like do side work, so we like listen.
They allow you to do side work? It's not work. I'm just saying. Maybe. That's amazing. That's horrifying. Yeah. Anyway, thanks. It's been a nice talk. Hi.
Hi, I'm Deannie.
Hi, Deannie.
So last year, I'm a nurse, and I requested a cameo for you for like a little pep talk, because obviously pandemic has been a little overwhelming, especially for all of us healthcare workers. And
thank you for getting us through it, or those of us who did make it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you sent me a cameo back that really kind of like amped me up. It was, I've listened to it a couple times. I sent it to my nurse friends. So my question for you is, what was something that helps get you through the pandemic when you were feeling just completely overwhelmed?
A couple of things come to mind for me. One is meditation. My days are much better when I meditate in the morning, and when I was working on Supernatural and had 2 little kids and was doing a ton of traveling and my schedule was totally irregular, it was hard to keep that practice up. But in the pandemic, it was like, oh wait, there's enough. I can structure my day enough. There's enough breathing room here for me to sanctify that sort of morning practice. So that was really helpful for me, and it has felt really good to maintain that and keep that up. So that's a pretty. I don't miss my morning meditation now, and that's a practice that I re-established during the pandemic. And something else that turned out to be really important for me during the pandemic was. Actually, it was in the year or so leading up to the pandemic, for the first time, I had this epiphany that most people figure out by the time they're 6 or 7, which is it really helps to talk to friends. And when I was having a hard time, and I had lots of hard times during that window, I would call friends. And I probably spent hundreds of hours on the phone over the last couple of years, actually reaching out, not necessarily like, hey, I'm having a problem and I want you to help me work it through, but just like, I realized like, I'm having a hard time right now and it would really help me just to connect with someone. So I did a lot of calling friends and talking for long periods of time, and that was really good for me. And it's funny, like I think sorry, this is like a little auto analysis that I'm doing, but for some reason early on in my life I figured out like I'm somebody who handles shit on my own. I deal with shit on my own. I don't need to lean on anyone for anything. And I carried that through all of my adulthood until quite recently, and it really didn't serve me, and actually, as it turns out, I'm not that great at handling everything on my own. So reaching out to friends was the thing that really helped me. Yeah, thanks.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Julie. My question is, so I have a Winter Soldier tattoo that when I'm really depressed or my anxiety is really high, I can look at and kind of, it makes me feel better. And I really want a Castiel tattoo, and I was wondering, because Castiel kind of does the same thing for me, so I was wondering if you had any ideas for a Castiel tattoo.
Well, that's a lot of pressure. You could do like a big Cass tattoo on your butt. And then you could be able to tell people, I put the ass in Cass. You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Karen.
Hi.
How you doing? So you talked about dad jokes earlier before my question. I'm a mom and my daughter's here and I'd love to embarrass her. Her name is Grace.
Great. I'm totally on board for whatever this is.
Her name
yeah.
is Grace. She's in the back. If you
Hi.
just,
Hi,
embarrass
Grace.
her. Okay. If you could have been in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, what character would you want to be and why?
How does that have anything to do with your daughter? Oh, I thought we were about to get into a whole thing. You were just saying hi to your daughter, but you weren't then going to embarrass her by telling a bedwetting story or something. Oh, well, that's disappointing. I would like to have been, I don't even know.
Hobbit, elf, wizard.
I would like to be a singer. I guess a hobbit. The hobbits looked like they had a good life in the Shire, didn't they? Yeah, I might, the casting might have been difficult. I'm not terribly diminutive, but whatever. Who cares? I could be a giant hobbit. A hobbit that was dosed with human growth hormone at a young age. Oh, giant hobbit that's ostracized from the other hobbits and can't fit. Oh, that happened to Gandalf, didn't it? Right? He was like in the Shire having a hard time getting around. Oh, whatever. Great. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
How are you?
You look good today.
What did you just say?
You look good today.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet of you.
What was it like being at the Oscars last year?
What was it like being at the Oscars?
Yeah.
It was awesome. My oldest, dearest friend, Darius Martyr, was, he wrote and directed a movie that was nominated for six different categories, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, a lot of, kind of heavy-hitting categories, and he won in 2. And it was really lovely. When I was talking about reaching out to friends, Darius is a good example of that. We're like chosen brothers. We've known each other since we were 12 years old, and we've both gone through some very difficult things in the last couple of years, and we've really been there for each other in a way that I think is not often condoned for men in America. We're like doing serious therapy on each other, and it is just lovely to have a human that it's lovely for each of us to have someone in the world that knows one another so well. But we've also been best friends since we were 12, and there was a lot of competition, and kind of like there were chapters in our lives when we were like trying to keep one another down, or making little asides about how the work that the other was doing really didn't amount to much. We were dicks. We were like brothers, and as we've gotten a little bit older, and as we've both landed a measure of success in our careers, I mean, having a movie that's getting 6 Oscar nominations is pretty incredible. It is so lovely to have a friend for whom I have nothing but goodwill. Like, his success felt like my success. So it was so nice to be able to share that experience at the Oscars. And it was also very cool that he muscled me in there because it was a COVID pandemic Oscars where nobody was allowed to come. Like nobody had plus ones. So it was really awesome to be able to get in there and then we were seated at a prominent booth, and I sat in such a way that I was like in front of him, so that when the cameras tried to get a shot of Darius, I was obstructing the view. And so as they were like announcing like the nominees, it would be my face, and Darius sort of trying to peek out from behind me, which was kind of cool. It was kind of nice to be able to not just share the limelight, but actually take the limelight from him in that moment. Yeah.
How's everything go well?
I think it's been okay. Yeah, we had some ups and downs. There was a woman that came up that was covered in the blood of one of her victims.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, just another Saturday.
Yeah. But yeah, they've been pretty good. They got a little bit riled up a couple of times.
Yeah.
There was at one point where I said, like, maybe I won't insult my castmates, and they were like, ugh. They didn't throw stuff at me, but that's just because the only things they had were their phones.
Right. They had to record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
So it's good. Like it's been nice. It's been nice finally being back in New Jersey and seeing a lot of faces that we haven't seen in over 2 years.
Right.
But obviously the pandemic has made them a lot meaner.
Right. Well, that's understandable. Oh well, it's happening again. They're very a lot of energy coming. Well, we love Misha anyway, right? It's